Good morning, everybody. Is my headphone connected? Yes. Good morning. Good morning. Can someone please confirm if you can see me and hear me? Hope you all had a good weekend. Let's start with awesome. Thank you. Thank you. All right, let's start with pick a pile, 1 or 2. This is on, right? Pick a pile, 1 or 2. If you picked number 1, you need to ignore what everyone else is doing and achieving. Your life is about breaking your own limits and outgrowing yourself to live your best life. You are not in competition with anyone else. Plan to outdo your past, not other people. So it's you versus you. Number 2, you are doing your best and that is enough. Any difficulties you face will not last forever. Release the thoughts and feelings that don't feel good. Focus all of your energy on love, happiness, and your hopes and dreams. So where your attention goes, manifestations will flow. Good morning, everybody. All right, let me scroll back to the top here. All right. Does my husband Wayne have any messages from his parent? The more he focuses on pouring into himself, the more he'll be able to feel their presence. It feels like he needs that right now. He needs their presence, or he needs maybe just like an energetic hug. So like being in the vibrational state of love will allow that to take in for him. I'm in my own personal paradise. When feathers, see, they're near him, they're with him. He just needs to be in the state of receiving. I feel like he's go, 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 or do, and he needs to let himself be in a state of receiving. Wondering if I'm okay to wait for my upcoming medical appointment in 3 weeks, or if I should try and get in sooner. Sooner. Definitely sooner. Relief. I feel like you really need the relief. And I don't know if this is necessarily physical relief, or if it's like once you have the answers, or once you have a plan in place, it'll help you start to feel better in your mind. It feels like right now, the not knowing or the waiting is almost like putting you in a state of panic, or putting you in a state of, I can't really focus on anything else. And it feels like it would be better for you to get in sooner rather than later. But again, not necessarily something medical being the reason, more of like peace of mind, and getting a plan in place for relief. This is really loud. Is my old neighbor directing negative energy towards me? And if so, what do I do? It feels like a projection of, as in from your neighbor, I don't love this about myself and I don't know how to heal it. So I'm projecting something onto you and painting you in the picture of what I don't like about myself. I would say not necessarily like black magic or anything, but this is like negative thoughts and intentions towards you. But again, it looks like a projection of something that they have a problem with between them and themselves. As far as what can you do, just making sure that you stay in a state of mind that you know what's your energy and you know what's being projected onto you from someone else's incorrect perceptions. A message from my mom. She's right there with you, and she needs you to action feeling what is numbed right now. For some reason, I'm being drawn to this bowl as in like sound healing. Or this could be you're kind of receiving messages, but there's a disconnect between you and your emotions. So you're not trusting what you're receiving. But there's a new chapter that is trying to unfold for you, but it needs your emotional regulation to like start to brew. I am so much better now. You heard my voice in whispers calling your name. I said something about sound healing. Maybe using certain sound healing modalities for like meditation will allow you to really connect with your mom on a deeper level. I feel like you need that right now. That will help you with the emotional regulation that she's suggesting. So being very mindful of what you're taking in sound wise and allowing that to get you into like a flow state so that she can either pass you puzzle pieces or like support and love you through the emotional unnumbing. What message does my adoptive parents have for me? What message? There's something that I want to say like unfinished business about something in the past needing to face what has been avoided because there's a key in what it is as you face it. It's like something that you may have been consciously or subconsciously putting off, but it's like you have the right support system now. Even if that support system is only yourself, you have the right tools to process what has been avoided. And almost as if they're saying like you owe it to yourself to give yourself that freedom or that release, if that makes sense. Time is a precious gift here on earth, and I'm happy for all the moments we shared, and being together in the dream realm is significant as well. Almost like passing down messages through dreams. You may be getting messages through dreams, like correlating with whatever this is from the past that wants to be addressed. Is there any weird energy around my ADA from work? What, if any, accommodations or decisions? Trying to control someone else's decision or trying to push someone into a corner to decide what the ADA would like them to decide as opposed to what they would decide without that influence. Any accommodations? It feels like, how do I word this? Someone trying to branch off away from this person's influence so that they can make their own decisions. But I don't know if this is directly pertaining to you. It feels like something that would affect you indirectly as opposed to directly. Is the principle being honest? Trying to buy time before something that has been brewing comes to the surface. So it may not necessarily be all the way dishonesty, but there is at the minimum avoidance of truth. I guess I'd word it. My best friend's mom has ovarian cancer. Is there any way to see if there are any other treatments available? I saw something yesterday. Hold on. I took a screenshot of it because that's what's flashing in my mind right now. Soursop, SOURSOP. Strongest natural antioxidant. For some reason, that's what's flashing in my mind. And as far as other treatment, it does look like, how do I want to word this? There may be some like test treatments. What's the word for that? I can't remember the word for that. Like not all the way up. There may be like a trial run of something that may at the very least make her more comfortable. Something that would be new. I feel like it's more of an ease of comforting emotions and like mental health, but it may also have physical impact as well. I like a trial something. I almost feel like this is going to kind of cross her path somehow, though, like the opportunity for it or the suggestion of it. Does my stepdad have a message for me? There's a certain train of thought or like thought pattern that you've recently interrupted in a positive way. It's like you've caught yourself in the moment and said, I'm not going to continue down this path. I'm going to introduce a different pattern of thought. And it's something that he's very proud of you for, because in the past, that one step backward would kind of put you into like several, I guess, like a spiral of not self-serving thoughts, like thoughts that would work against you. And you've made a major stride forward in breaking free from that pattern. I am at peace. I feel no pain. I am filled with nothing but love and light. And something about being surrounded by animals as well. So that may have been, I almost want to say like, this is meant to be representing, he's on a mission with you right now, if that makes sense. Like there's something specific he's helping you through or with, because you were able to interrupt a pattern that wasn't serving you. What message does my husband's mom have for him? It feels like he's busybodying himself away from being present in the moment right now. And it's almost like she's saying it's okay to give yourself a little break. It's okay to not be sprinting all the time. And it's like if he could see himself through her perspective, he'd be able to take that deep breath that he avoids taking. Like it's going to be okay is essentially the message. I know you feel so much hurt and pain, but I promise it's going to get better. And now I have no pain. So if it's worry about her that's keeping him in that state of busybodying to avoid emotions, she's okay. And there's a feeling of like, once you water the flowers, you have to like give them space to bloom. It's like he's done a lot of work on healing. Now he needs to let himself be present so he can experience the benefits of the work that he did with healing. I feel like I keep waiting for something big to happen, but I don't know what it is. Nope, that would be your passion taking off in a big way. So no, it's not. It's your intuition, not your anxiety. I would say work on any feelings you have revolving around the fear of being seen, especially when it comes to being seen in a vulnerable way. Almost like start to test out increased vulnerability around those you feel safe around, so that any fear of being seen can be brought to your attention, so that, because this is like my passion fulfills me. My passion sustains me in a big way. So working on any fear of being seen will allow that to manifest. Messages from my son's father in a song. So this part's for you. Learning to trust when it comes to working through denser emotions, learning to trust yourself. If it's coming to the surface, it's because you're ready. As far as your son, to not stand in his own way of his potential. Knowing that where he puts his attention and focus is where there will be results yielded. So focusing on the bad allows for more challenging situations. There's some kind of talent, skill, or ability he's meant to hone in on in a much bigger way than he's doing right now. In My Life by the Beatles is the song. Guidance for the next year. 10, 9, 8 of Pentacles. Taking a step back to see the bigger picture will help pieces fall into place. There's the opportunity for increased stability and security here. Almost like each chakra center that you went through has given you a piece that you're now putting into place to use in a way that may have felt like reaching before. It's like what seemed like beyond your reach is now coming into your reach, and you're going to start to recognize it's because that's why you felt called towards it. So taking a step back to see the bigger picture. And I feel like by taking a step back, we're talking allowing yourself time to rest and like meditate and think and not go, because there's things that want to come through for you to show you how to get that 10 of Pentacles. When I concentrate on sending love to someone or something, I feel a surge of vibrancy through my veins. Is that channeling? Yes, that's channeling. Specifically, how do I word this? It feels like you are feeling those surges where if you're like channeling about another person or channeling about an experience, you're feeling those surges where there was like a energy blockage, or like showing you where the energy needs to be moved from in order to get the most out of what is being channeled, I guess I'd put it. So like I start to feel tingles in like my chest area. We're talking heart chakra. It's like it's pointing you towards where there needs to be movement or where there was a blockage within the information that you're channeling. So you can use that to get more information, because if you're channeling about someone and your leg is tingling, it's not just random tingles, it's what's going on with the leg. Any messages from my guides to keep moving on my path without losing direction? Being mindful of where you may be prone to self-sabotaging behaviors when things don't go as quickly as you anticipate. Learning to be patient with yourself and learning to be patient with your results. I feel like when things don't happen as quickly as you anticipate, it makes you talk yourself out of like taking chances on yourself with certain opportunities that I guess I'd say leave it to divine timing and just focus on knowing that where you put your time, effort, and energy, there will be progress or results, but being patient with when it unfolds, because there may be additional lessons or additional, like being set up for bigger, but needing to be patient with yourself as it gets there. Any info for the pivot coming in your life? It's a major healing opportunity for what may have stopped your manifestations before, because now you're being able to be emotionally regulated through the highs and lows, so to speak. So the info for the pivot would be, you're going to be emotionally challenged in the days or weeks leading up to the pivot, and how you handle the challenge will determine if the pivot is delayed or the pivot starts. Almost like I give you a test of emotions, you pass, and then you start to see a new path opening. It's like showing yourself that you're ready to handle things. I'm almost going to say in a bolder way, like you can be bolder with your moves because you trust yourself to maintain the flow of emotions. So continue to do that. Will my friend A hear from the foster child social worker about a family that would adopt soon? I don't know if I'm not soon in what you define soon. This would be things not coming to manifest as desired. This would be swimming against the current. So there may be some challenge that arises, or it may take a little bit longer than anticipated. Justice in reverse makes me feel like it's something that's out of your friend's hands. So it's not something your friend is doing wrong. It's not paperwork that was filled out incorrectly. It's like something on the other side that needs to be put into the right place so that this can unfold. I see it happening eventually, but after a period of stress. I feel like this 5 is pointing towards like whatever the hopes are of this happening time-wise. I would say add about 5 to 7 months. But it feels like something's being set up so that the right alignment happens. So it's not a punishment. It's just waiting for the right pieces to fall into place. Any messages from Yvonne? Needing to surrender to an experience or a choice that requires, I almost want to say, the power of the mind. Like, this feels to me like learning to take direction. There's a need to take spiritual direction right now, even if the 3D is not necessarily proving it. It's like a test of your intuition that's unfolding, that you'll pass as you surrender to what you feel spiritually led, like to investigate or think about. Like there's something you're going to be called to look into, I want to say, and doing that will help maybe you get out of your own way in something, is how I want to word that. My death was painless. Please don't worry or hold on to guilt. And when you are missing me, I send birds. So maybe when you see specifically a red cardinal, shuffle a playlist and you'll get a message from Yvonne. Just got diagnosed with, I do not know how to say that. Am I going to need surgery? My answer for surgery. Non-invasive surgery, is that what I'm seeing? Non-invasive? Yes, surgery, but non-invasive. I don't know what that would look like in this particular situation, but I'm feeling there's going to need to be something, but it feels like non-invasive. The reference I'm getting is like when they put like a really little like needle size something in. I don't know, like there is something, but it's not going to be worst case scenario or like I also don't feel like it's something that's going to hold you up too long after it happens. I guess that's the non-invasive part of it. In college, I thought I saw my sister who died a long time ago in a crowd walking ahead of me. She turned around and looked at me and then disappeared in the crowd. Was that her? It feels like this would be public. So not her literally, but it feels like you know how like when your brain sees something and it looks very close to something else, it'll fill in the blanks of what it's familiar with. It feels like that's what happened, but it feels like it happened to comfort you in that moment because it's like if you look at the timing of this, there's something significant about the timing that was like when this happened that almost like she orchestrated it to comfort you in that specific moment using someone that would look close enough that your brain would fill in the blanks, if that makes sense. Was the health issue I had day before due to an occult spell? How to counter that? How do I word this? I'm almost getting the energy of like a ticking time bomb. So it doesn't feel like something that was just sent to you. It feels like energy that was being held by you without realizing that it was not your energy. And in order to, I guess, get it out of your system, it had to come to the surface. Yeah, I'm hearing like ticking time bomb. So like something from a bit ago, not something recent. And it feels like the intention was to kind of get you into a state of feeling misaligned with your spiritual essence. Like it could be because someone didn't want you to talk about something. It could be because someone had some vendetta that was one-sided that you weren't aware of and they weren't getting the reaction from you. So they kind of embedded themselves in your energy, I guess you could say. So the way to counteract that would to be really relying on that spiritual part of self that they wanted to dismantle. And what area in my life requires attention right now? Showing up as the healed version of you that you are and that you fought so hard to align with. I feel like you've done a lot of work on really discovering who you are at your core, but in some social settings you feel like you have to show up as the version of you that everyone's used to. This is like show up exactly how you are right now so you can start to really see yourself in action and get more comfortable in like there's something you're meant to share with either the world or a group of people, but you need to kind of be comfortable in the upgraded version of your vessel to do so. What does my future look like? It feels like in the immediate future, working really hard to overcome maybe not listening to your intuition or working through certain cycles to get it out of your energetic field from past situations where you didn't listen to your intuition. So this season is essentially learning how important it is to stay connected spiritually and follow those intuitive hits, because it's going to translate into something in the 3D. And almost as if once you learn this lesson, you have more opportunities or choices going forward, but first needing to really align with trusting your intuition, because it's almost like there's a delay coming until you're ready. Almost like your higher self is leading you through this little maze, like on Survivor, how they have the one person up in the tower and the other person's doing the maze. Your higher self wants you to trust your higher self so your higher self can direct you through the maze while you're blindfolded, if that makes sense. And you have more options as that pairing strengthens. What can I know about the imaginary friends I had as a child that I believe were real? Well, in order to have give and take, there needs to be two sides of something. Just maybe not seeing it from the clearest perspective. It feels like these were spirit guides. So not that they weren't real, just that instead of imaginary friends, they were real angels that were there may have been some blanks in your raising, like of raising you, where the support that you got from these spirit guides allowed you to see your worth or to believe in yourself in some way, in a way that others on the outside weren't providing for you. So it's almost like that happened and these guides stepped in to kind of play that role of comfort or support so that you were able to continue to take chances on yourself. Why does it feel like there are roadblocks nearly every time I try to accomplish something? Needing to free yourself from unconscious self-sabotage. It feels like you deal a lot with perceived problems that haven't happened yet. And it's almost like you talk yourself down in certain ways of enthusiasm because of potential perceived blockages. And it manifests into, okay, well, here's this blockage so you can overcome it. So kind of working on self-concept and knowing that you have the strength and efficiency to maintain what you create long term. And it's almost like you want to see that before you believe it, but you need to create it with your thoughts, if that makes sense. Do I have any guides and do they have messages for me? Yes, you do. There's a situation in your past where, how do I word this? If you would have told the whole story, it would have made someone else look really, really bad. So you held back from processing certain things until, well, I don't really think that it's all the way processed yet. So there's a need to allow yourself emotional flow, even if it means it makes someone else look bad for the role that they played, because it'll release an emotional blockage that's preventing you from feeling worthy of self-love in the way that you are. That can be, you could like write a letter. You don't have to send it to them. You could record yourself, but basically creating flow where there has been a lack of flow, and you did it for a very selfless reason. You're like, if I process this fully, that person's going to look really bad for the role that they played, but you deserve to process it nonetheless. Should I apply for the vacant position? And will I like the work and people? You'll like the people, except for maybe like one or two. There may be like a clickiness with a couple of people, if that makes sense, or like a we've been here longer than you, so we're gonna be weird with you thing. But I also feel as though something about the pay will either be unexpected or maybe not exactly what you need. So should you apply? Yes, but I also feel like there is something better elsewhere, but you don't need to like, I guess I'd say you don't need to rush. So if you want to do that while you look for the other thing, it feels like a good option, but it doesn't feel like the most long-term option, I guess I'd say. Yeah, the moon on the bottom. There's like something unseen about it. Almost like false not false advertisement, almost like a part of the job is not accurately represented or something. Any messages from me and my sister from our grandparents? It feels like there's a conversation that needs to happen between you and your sister. Almost like clearing the air or getting on the same page or something like that. The foundation is there so that this conversation will go well. And it may be like one of you needing to get something off of your chest and the other not knowing about it, but it feels more like a elephant in the room, I guess I'd say. But the foundation is there so that it has the high potential to go in a positive way. I feel happy and healthy, and I am so happy here, carefree with no earthly worries. Uh-oh, there we go. It's my son's 18th anniversary on Friday. Does he have a message for me? Your feelings are not a burden to those who care for you. So let yourself feel whatever it is that comes up. Also, maybe if possible, kind of let yourself just rest that day. If you stay with your emotions, you'll be able to handle them. If you repress them, it'll feel overwhelming. So you've got this is the message. To stay present in the moment. Both very present cards, reaching out to you and you see. So there's a feeling of him making himself known. I feel like around anniversary on Friday, I wouldn't be surprised to get a very direct message from him in the 2 days before or that day or 2 days after. Any messages from the other side? A family member telling you to keep going because the perspective shift that you just made is going to show you, yeah, that's you, is going to show you where the light needs to be shown, I want to say. It feels like there's been some difficult moments recently, but they see your strength through the difficulty. Even in the things that you don't tell other people, the things that you deal with up here, you're stronger than you give yourself credit for. Besides my intuition, one of my spiritual gifts was channeling, which I'm trying to connect to. Is there another gift I should try to develop? I feel like this is saying focus on honing in on getting very comfortable with the Morse code of sorts that your higher self is using to give you information. And as you get more comfortable with that, things will naturally open up, almost like you learn what this symbol means, or you learn what this sign translates to, and then instead of seeing it out there, you start to close your eyes and be able to see it. Like it's like learning and getting very comfortable with the foundation that everything else will be built on. So I would say right now, focusing on learning as much as possible about how your higher self is passing you information through channeling, whether that be feelings, inner knowing, seeing, hearing, almost like as your intention is to connect, you'll be shown different ways in which you're already connected. Will my husband's project to build a house in Mexico be successful? Will there be any setbacks? There will be a setback, but then there's freedom from it. Almost like you see a potential it's something you're going to see coming. So you see a potential problem, you try to avoid the problem. There's some bit of a problem, but then you work through it. It feels as though it is going to be successful, but there's definitely going to be a hurdle. Almost like one step forward, two steps back, and then figuring out a different path forward. So I do see potential for it to be successful, especially with the Emperor, but there is something, I want to say major, that's going to need to be overcome. And I'm hearing logistics, something in logistics. To be overcome. Yeah, see, this was in reverse and it's complete ending. So not a complete ending. It's something, it's an unseen problem right now, but one that you'll see coming. But again, it's able to be overcome in time. Almost like going to have to switch strategies when it comes to, I almost want to say funding or something. Did my dad know I was there with him at the hospital the night before he? I feel like he tried to let you know, but was unable to, like, let you know that he knew. Yeah, confirmation. I just want to say there was some subtle hint, very unobvious, but like almost like I'm trying to communicate or sign, but I can't. But this is message received here. So my plan to confirm or show you that I knew didn't work, but I message received anyway. So yes. Oh, the sun on the bottom of the deck. Was the story regarding the woman who showed up at my house? What's the story with the woman showed up at your house? They're on behalf of someone else, if that makes sense. This is like a gathering of information or trying to get a reaction on behalf of another person who couldn't let something go and needed to see how you would respond in order to use that pattern for a future. If I know how you respond to this, then in the future when this happens, I can guess how you'll likely respond, if that makes sense. But it feels like not there on her own behalf. There's masculine energy behind that. My husband's family member is missing since July 23. It feels like there's something that this person was trying to get away from that was strong arming them, or overpowering them, I guess I'd say, instead of strong arming. I'm trying to get away from something to avoid a problem, but the problem is catching me more quickly than I anticipate. Younger male energy may know something as well. I'm sure this has been done, but it feels like there has to be some traceable data that would be important, but it may not look exactly what it presents as. Like it may not look like anything unless you know that there's something he was trying to separate himself from, some kind of like pressure situation, I think I'd say, like a walls closing in type situation, it feels like, is how I would describe it. Is my son Ethan okay? Feels like he's back and forth between a wave of emotions, I guess I'd say, like some good days and some more difficult days. There's a feeling of learning how to be in flow with emotions on a consistent basis. And it feels like that's the difference in the highs and lows. But I would say overall, okay, yes. Yes. Oh, and if he's passed, then the difficult days would be your days. Like when you have difficult days, he tries to be there with you. If he's still alive, then it's what I said before. I don't know how to take that temperance card. What is my gift? I feel like you kind of know this already because you've had an experience with it, but maybe didn't necessarily view it as that. It feels like clairaudience is something, being able to kind of hear messages, or balanced channeling. So I'm thinking something in my mind and then I'm paying attention to someone's conversation and it's confirming something in terms of what I channeled. So listening for clues and insights into thoughts that you're already having. It feels like there was a certain situation, I almost want to say a traumatic situation, where you felt like you heard something, or something that you heard was almost like a clarification of channeling. I just accidentally rocked that back and forth. That felt significant. But clairaudience is something, channeling information and then asking for either a audio or asking to hear something to confirm will strengthen that. But we have to pay back all we owe, or will something come up where we don't have to? There, I feel like it's not going to be as bad as you think, but there is going to be something. So if it's a payment plan that comes to be like something like that, the interest won't be astronomical. If it's whatever it is, it feels like something you're going to be able to handle, but it's not something that's going to completely go away. But I would say that the solution is going to be one that you can manage. Is moving going to happen this year? I wouldn't say this year. It feels like there's a hurdle to be overcome. It does look like it's going to happen, though. I would say it's more likely within a year than this year. So until about March of next year. I feel like you need those extra January, February, March of next year, I feel like is significant. My former boss, Tina, told me about a job in the company to apply for. Is it a good idea? I feel like yes, because there's room to grow, but I almost get this feeling of you may be a little too good at something to where someone doesn't want you to then grow. Like, I don't want you to take my job type thing. So I do feel a little bit almost of like animosity, but I also feel like there's room to grow. So career wise, it would be a smart move. But just know that you may be dealing with someone who like a you versus me situation. Like, I don't want you to move up because then it might mess me up somehow. But career wise, I do think it's a good idea. Do I have a family inheritance coming to me soon? You're going to learn something you don't know yet about. I want to word this as someone else's influence over where this goes. Maybe like you'll see somebody's true colors or something like that doesn't want to work as a team, doesn't want to divvy out the money maybe, or tries to, I don't know if I'd say soon. I do feel like something is there, but it's almost like there's someone playing around with the trajectory of what happens with it. What do I need to do next to grow my practice? I just want to say rebranding the way that you connect with clientele. There's a feeling of something that's outside of your comfort zone. I want to say like giving back in some way, but I don't mean like spending all your resources to give stuff away. Like maybe it could be like a giveaway. It's like getting people connecting on a different layer than you are right now. Yeah, that'd be one way going out. Getting the word out through getting people connected in a different way. For some reason, I keep referencing like a giveaway or like a maybe even like a promotional thing. Like if you bring in X amount of people, like that kind of thing, something like that, I feel would be helpful. And buying more sound healing instruments. What would be the best way to play for others to support their healing? The best way to play for others. This is like manifesting a new method of sharing that allows the befriending of shadow wounds. I feel like this is pointing to online. I feel like this is pointing towards maybe offering like group type sessions of like a Zoom. I'm seeing like a Zoom call screen with like 20 to 30 slots on it. Almost like, you know how when you go to certain meetings, there's like coffee and then the meeting and then a little after thing. I'm seeing that like where you kind of bring people together for a healing session, but there's like some gathering of the minds before and after. I guess you'd say creating a little community. And for some reason, I'm seeing like a Zoom screen call with like a bunch of little boxes on it. Is one of my past lives in the 14 or 1500s? It almost feels like there's certain seeds of that lifetime that was planted. How do I word this? Certain ways that you've handled stuff in this lifetime is the reason you feel drawn to that. It's like you're using the tools developed then to get through things now. I do feel like that was a very difficult lifetime for you. It's like you learned who you were and then you had to bury it or repress it because it wasn't safe, and now you're realigning with that version of yourself. If that makes sense. So yes, especially because Temperance is card 14. Do spirits from the morgue ever follow me home? Work environment, home environment. How do I word this? Not on purpose. Like they're not trying to scare you, more just like intertwined with your energy. This feels like it relates to subconscious channeling that you're kind of picking up on here. 10, 10, 10. Almost like if there's any unfinished business in their mind, the way that you process things helps them unpretzel what they can't comprehend, if that makes sense, about their journey. You're helping them make sense of something so they can move on, I guess you'd say. Oh no, I lost my spot. Any messages from my guides, family, or my dog, Ram? There's a need to find something that interests you that you can focus on in the more difficult moments. It's the example I give where you kind of feel like you're at the bottom of a well and you have a rope, but you need to tie the rope onto something above ground to like pull yourself up. It feels like they're saying that's what you need right now. It's like you've done a lot of healing. Now it's getting to enjoy the healing that you've done by doing something that I think I want to say intellectually stimulates you. Oh, no, creative. Healing your inner child through using your creativity. It's not intellectual stimulation. It's allowing creativity is very important at this time. It's going to connect you back with feeling like yourself again, doing something new in that way. I'm going to try to go through all these really quick. Should my son accept the job in Colorado Springs? Definitely. Yes, absolutely. Financial independence, good at what he's doing. What he's doing will come naturally to him. And this is opportunity for growth and advancement here. So big yes. Was there really an incubus around me last week? It's like a one-way cord or a one-way connection. Like I'm aware of it, you're not aware of it. Knight of Wands, Queen of Wands. This would be you unaware of it. That would be incubus aware of it connection. When should my son receive his settlement? Do you have an answer for the settlement? Will it be this year? It won't be 2025. Will it be in the next 6 months? Feels most, let me check that. Hold on. The very end of the year at the earliest? I think the end of the year. Like I would say like December, like the last month. Yeah, that would be him getting the money after overcoming a period of needing it or waiting for it. This is like longing for something. So it feels like the very end of the year about. Maybe the beginning of next year, but it feels like end of this year. How do I become a member? You should be one now. Because I think I turned this on members only. Maybe I didn't. No, I think I did. If you're in here, you're a member. Will I get my own vehicle again soon? I'm not seeing as soon as you would like. Something is working against this happening. Almost like think outside of the box when it comes to making this happen. Maybe different funding or a different route of finding the vehicle, or something needs to be done differently that's preventing it from happening now. And it feels like it's going to be a little bit. I almost want to say not this year. Not that it's not possible, but action needing to be taken on something differently. When will I become a grandma? Do we have timing? Will it be this year? It will not be this year. 2025? Not 2025? In the next 5 years? It will be the next 5 years. So not 2025. So in the next 2 to 5 years, it feels like. I feel most strongly like 2 to 3 years. It doesn't feel like this year. Something needs to be overcome first. Why do I feel like I don't know who I truly am? Crown chakra. Wait a minute. Aren't there the same 3 cards that just came out when I pulled cards for you a minute ago? Because you are learning what energy you've been carrying that's not yours, that you took on to help other people heal. So you feel like you don't know yourself because you feel like you're losing layers of yourself, but what you're losing are the layers of yourself that weren't you. So kind of being in a state of surrender and being the observer to see what remains energy wise that's yours and what you may have been carrying for other people. Those are the same cards that just came out. That's crazy. Yeah, because everything is being made right, but you need to let the pieces that don't belong fall away. Is my ex-husband Greg trying to reach out to me? Feels like he's trying to trigger you. Trigger you into a reaction to see what said reaction would be, if that makes sense. And or measure your healing, if that, like, I feel most strongly about trying to get a reaction out of you or trying to trigger you in some way. What is my purpose? There's something that you specifically went through that you had to learn the tools to maneuver your way out of. That was because that is part of your soul purpose, to be in a competitive environment in which you show others the tools that you used in that particular situation. Like showing others the way through the storm, I kind of want to say. It's like you realize that you had to create this key for yourself. And that whole situation happened because that's a big part of your life purpose, to do something similar to what you had to work through in that chapter. Oh no, I don't know where I am. I'm going to stay on about 10 more minutes and then I'm going to come back on Wednesday. Oh no, I really lost my spot. Feelings about my health. There's a need for preventative care for something or to change something so that a problem does not ensue. It feels like there is a lack of something or a need to improve something. I really feel like this has something to do with diet or a clearing, like not dieting, but like making sure that you're getting proper nutrition and some kind of like mobility or movement. Like there's some kind of preventative care that will really help you in the near future if you start to undertake it right now. Was I meant to be with Reese? No, this is like you freed yourself from a problem before the problem came to be. Not a victory. It feels as though if it would have lasted longer than what it did, it would have been very hard for you to walk away from all the time and effort you put in, almost like it would have been like this unintentional self-sabotage to get you to stay in a situation that was not a victory. Any precautions to take in the coming months? Needing to trust yourself to know when to push and when to rest. It feels like you are at times busybodying yourself away and repeating past patterns that don't serve you. So trusting yourself to show up differently for yourself. Look before you leap type energy, like think things through 3 times instead of twice, just for a little bit, because you're changing a major pattern, but it's like there's still a string needing to be cut that's attaching you to an old pattern. Will they be exposed for what they did to me? They, as in multiple people, I'm not seeing that, but I am seeing the public becoming aware of at least one person's behavior and choosing to not associate with them because of it. I'm not seeing a they though. I'm feeling one main person. Will I have to get knee replacement or scope? I just feel like something is tried and then something else needs to be tried because the first thing doesn't work the way it needs to. I don't know if that's therapy and then scope or scope and then replacement, but it feels like there's a try and a fail at something. Not fail as in you did something wrong, fail as in your body just, it doesn't work the best for what you need it to. Knee replacement. I feel like it may eventually come to that, but I feel like something is tried first. Is there like some kind of not replacing the whole knee, but replacing maybe like a ligament or something? I feel like it's not as bad as the worst situation could be, but it's not as easy as the first thing working, if that makes sense. Will my Aunt Cindy beat her cancer? It feels like eventually that is going to be a major factor in her passing, unfortunately. But I do see I guess I'd say I see progress and then a halt in progress. So it feels like there's time, but then it comes to be where something becomes an issue relating to it, where it's like hard to get the progress that was gotten in the beginning. So it does feel like eventually that is going to be a factor. Why do I feel my husband for myself is going to pass away soon? Very odd dreams causing severe anxiety. Do I think he's going to? No. But I feel like it's almost, there's something that, how do I word this? Your psyche is worried about something, but unsure how to translate why you're feeling that way. It's almost like if your subconscious was like, hey, I wish we could do this differently about something, and your mind doesn't know how to translate that to you, so it's projecting, what if this happened, so that you look at certain things and you're like, I should do this differently now, if that makes sense. So I'm not seeing that being what's going to happen as in his passing, but I'm seeing the subconscious projecting onto the screen of your mind a message in a way that your conscious mind would be able to interpret as making some kind of change sooner rather than later, if that makes sense. And it may even be a change, the sun on the bottom. So it feels like everything's going to be okay. It may even be a change that he needs to make that he's not making, that since because he's ignoring it, it's coming up for you. So it may, if it's not something that you want to change, it's something that he needs to change in like a preventative way that he's not doing. So you're getting the messages like for him because of the soul tie. What's keeping me from being able to sleep at night? Somebody else being in your energy. I almost want to say this feels like a soul tie. Some kind of unfinished business or needing to close the door on someone from the past that's still, I don't feel like it's like an astral projecting into your dreams. I feel like this is like constantly thinking about or perceiving yourself in the way that someone from the past used to perceive you, and that's allowing their energy to remain in your auric field. So needing to see yourself from the glasses of your own perception instead of the way that someone from the past saw you. And it feels like that will allow your subconscious mind to not be anxious before sleep. It feels like it's stemming from anxiousness because you're not understanding where this energy is coming from that doesn't feel like yours, and it's someone else's energy. So needing to see yourself clearly from your own perspective instead of the perspective of what that person viewed you as. Essentially taking your power back. Why have I been so tired lately? Because your mind is constantly thinking about all the things that you have to do, and it feels like it's not as organized as it could be in your mind. So I feel like a to-do list in which you check off what's done and kind of reward yourself for that. It just feels like your mind, it's like always, it's trying to balance the mind with the reality. Like everything that's going on up here, how can I get it all out in the way it needs to into my reality? So needing to break a pattern of being hard on yourself when you have a lot. It's like just needing to kind of organize your thoughts, I guess I'd say, and check them off as you complete them. Almost like your mind is on a hamster wheel of thinking about all that, and it's making you physically tired because your mind is on that like running loop of everything. Mm. Sorry, I'm trying to see. where I end it here. I really lost my place. Hold on. Jackie, I don't see which question you're referring to. Let me look. No, that's not it. Hold on. I don't see it. I try to put it again. I'm going to scroll to the bottom in 1 minute. Why is Kay using power and control at work? How can I best respond? An ego wound, I guess you'd say, when it comes to needing to feel like everyone's listening to what that person is saying, to free themselves from their own ego projections. How can you best respond? Staying grounded and viewing it from the perspective of it's not because of you, it's not because of anyone, it's because of their own self. A wounded ego that if they don't feel like they're in control of the situation, then I guess you'd say they feel like everything's going to fall apart if they're not the one that's in control of the situation. So they try and control through the verbal dialogue their maintaining of control. So I'd say to not take it personally, and know that it's an unhealed wound within that person. Why do I feel my mother is competing with me? This feels like a you owe me type wound, like the competition kind of feeling like it's stemming from, if you're happy, you need to acknowledge the work I put in to allow you to be that way. I guess I'd word it her wanting to be acknowledged for any successes that you have because of her role in maybe raising you or something along those lines. Ooh. What did I just do? I'm going to do about 3 more and then I'm going to hop off. Oh, I did answer it? Okay, that's good. Why do some people come over as jealous of me? You see clearly what they have had the opportunity to see, but can't perceive it from the way that you perceive it. How do I word that differently? Other people became the embodiment of their pain while you looked to how to transmute it, and they can't comprehend how that could be the case because they can't do it. Hard for me to get a job. I moved to two states. Oh, I hope you see my question. Let me see. Oh, there we go. Will I get a job soon? Let me reshuffle this. I sent many resumes. Would it be possible to apply for something different? Like, this gives the energy of you'd surprise yourself by applying for something that may be a little outside of your comfort zone or maybe isn't necessarily your forte. Like thinking outside of the box. I almost want to read this as independent contractor, because there is an opportunity to align with the right path for yourself here, but it feels like it's different than what you're doing or different than what you've done in the past when it comes to almost like if you use the same talent or skill, but like in a different way or a different setting. And I am feeling like independent contractor. In terms of soon, I feel like it's going to be a little bit longer. I feel like there's a little bit of like a start fresh energy, like being patient with yourself through the process, but looking in a different direction. Anything that I need to know? Yeah, Weaver 11, I don't see it. I have Kim, Jill, and Lorene. Yeah, I don't see it, unfortunately. Check your email. Maybe they emailed you something. Anything you need to know? This is like unhealed inner child wound, or be aware that there's going to be an inner child trigger unfolding because you have the tools to handle it in the appropriate way. Almost like you're going to be presented soon with an opportunity to more deeply heal your inner child. So allow yourself to stay in touch with your emotions and not repress or numb, because it's not like this isn't a punishment. This is an opportunity to further heal. It feels kind of like a repressed memory coming up. Does my ex-husband have a message for me or his boys? Yes. For you to know that you're doing a better job than you give yourself credit for when it comes to leading by example for them, it does feel like his boys, it feels like one is struggling a lot with his passing specifically, not that the other isn't, but when it comes to feeling like they're leaving him behind by living, like being in the moment. So almost like a subconscious avoidance of being in the moment. So that is something that he's saying he would like to be addressed within one of the sons. I see all of your thoughts, and I've gone through my life review, and there are so many lessons still to be learned. It's almost like he's trying to pass on the lesson of how important it is to stay present in the moment and address anything that keeps you from being present in the moment pain-wise. So like giving yourself grace, I guess you'd say, especially for the one boy that's struggling, needing to give himself grace. Why do I keep having nightmares? It almost feels like someone who I'm reading this as someone who's passed. Not like haunting you, but like trying to get you to review a situation from a different perspective before that individual fully passes. Not that that's what's holding the person up, but like trying to help you see a situation from a different perspective, but almost like from their negative perspective of the situation at the time, if that makes sense. So getting you to see how someone else viewed a situation so you can understand their perspective so they can close out that chapter, if that makes sense. All right, I'm going to do one more. Thank you so much to all my mods for being here. I'm going to next week for anyone who's a mod, I'm going to be doing a, well, I'll put out the invite and the info next week, but I think I'm going to do it on like a Zoom call type thing because it's not possible to do that via YouTube and just have it as mods. Okay, this one. I want to strengthen my channeling abilities. I think channel with clients, best step to take for growth. This is like accessing shadows from a different way in which you have before. It's almost giving like hypnotherapy or spiritual retreat or like trance meditation, like something like that. Almost like you've done all the digging to get to a specific wound, and now it's like breaking open the eggshell of something, almost like getting yourself into a state of spiritual surrender from an outside tool. So like hypnotherapy or trance meditation or something like that. Almost like it breaks open the eggshell and then a bunch of downloads come in. You're like, oh, this is how I maintain that, if that makes sense. Okay, everyone, I will be back on Wednesday, probably the same time. Thank you so much to everyone. Conspiracy realist. I do not see one. Yeah, I do not see one. Oh, wait, here, this one. When should my son receive his settlement? Was this the one I said the end of the year, though, or no? Let's see. Do we have an answer for the settlement? Will it be the end of this year, beginning of next year? End of this year, beginning of next year it will be? Getting end of this year, beginning of next year. So I think that's the one that you're referring to. Okay, everyone, I'm hopping off. I will see you on Wednesday. And thank you again to my mods. You guys are awesome.